Hello, everyone. Today I will tell you about a 14-year-old teenager who finds himself surrounded by horny women. Julian arrives at the estate for the holidays. Together with Pun, he goes to the kitchen to have a snack, where Antoine, having grabbed Justine, shows the boy the girl's breasts. Pun notices that they have seen this for a long time. After a snack, Julian goes out into the yard, where Julian watches Claire and Charles playing ping pong. After examining his cousin, Julian notices that Julian is wearing a bra, and he himself has already started shaving. It's time for a family dinner, which is attended not only by family members but also by lodgers, a professor with his daughter, who emigrated from Germany, as well as a silent film actress named Clementine. Julian's mother tries to call the maid, but Matilda has no time, since she is busy with Antoine in the kitchen. After dinner, Julian, and Pun go cycling. The girl does not like this kind of recreation, where you have to pedal. Suddenly, Charles rides past them and Julia stops him. After she tells him about her problems with her bike, Charles offers to give her a ride to the estate. In the evening, during the dance, the professor's daughter suggests that Julian invite Julia to dance. The boy and the girl do not know how to dance, but the professor's daughter insists. Julia refuses, since she does not know how, and Pun happily picks up the boy. Approaching Julia, Charles invites her to dance, and she happily agrees. Now it becomes clear who the girl is in love with. She makes an entry about this in her diary before going to bed. In the morning, Julian goes into the bathroom, where Julia is taking a shower. He expresses dissatisfaction with her dance with Charles, asking if she thought about Claire's feelings before agreeing to dance. To this, Julia offers him to rub her back. Opening her eyes, she becomes angry and leaves the bathroom. While talking with Pun, Julia notices a naked girl on the shore of the lake and calls her cousin to look at this spectacle. At that moment, the postman drives by. Seeing the naked body, the postman falls into the lake and begins to drown. Julia jumps into the water, saving him and pulling him to shore. Meanwhile, Charles brings Julia to the lake in his car and invites her to swim. But Julia wants to sit behind the wheel. Sitting next to her, Charles begins to grope her, pretending to help her get into the right position behind the wheel. Throwing away the keys, Julia runs out of the car, supposedly to pick a bouquet of flowers. Charles, approaching her and hugging her from behind, offers his help. Having unhooked himself from him, the girl goes to look for the keys. When she hears that Charles has hurt himself, she returns, and the guy starts to grope her, but she manages to break free. The next day, walking around the estate, Julian and Pun notice Charles, who has climbed a tree and is watching a naked Julia, while his fiancée Claire lies with her eyes closed under the tree. Having chased the children away, Charles returns to his fiancée. She notices Charles's car driving past them with a sheep in the driver's seat. For this, Julian is punished by not allowing him to leave his room. In the evening, Matilda appears with dinner for Julian. She comments on how luxurious his bed is and asks for permission to lie down next to him. Matilda asks if he has kissed girls for real. After hearing an affirmative answer, the maid offers to do it with her. After kissing her timidly, Julian begins to recite a poem from the 18th century. Repeating after him, Matilda undresses and lies down next to him. At a family dinner, the dog begins to whine since Julian is locked in his room, preventing conversation. Having learned from Charles that his car was not badly damaged, Julian's mother goes to his room to cancel the punishment and finds her son next to a naked Matilda. Edouard, Julien's father, advises him not to get caught doing this again. In the morning, Madeleine, a new maid, appears at the estate, replacing the fired Matilda. Pun notices how Charles hits on the new maid and tells Julian about it. The boy writes 3 letters, 2 on behalf of Charles, Julie and Madeleine asking to meet, and 1 from the new maid to Charles inviting him on a date. Julia is the first to enter the henhouse where Julian hides to see everything. Madeleine appears after her, and then Charles himself. Julia hides when she hears Charles's voice calling Madeleine. Charles presses the girl against the wall and penetrates her, which Julia hears and sees. Disappointed, she runs out of the henhouse in tears. The next day is Julia's birthday. She turns 16. In connection with this, the family is preparing a theatrical performance in which Clementine and Julien will star. The mayor appears in the hall, who has come not for the first time since the family is in debt. Julien's mother leaves to get the servant's manager, who paws Madeleine. When the performance is over, Edouard, Julien's father, shows attention to his mother, appointing a meeting in the park. As soon as all the guests leave, Agnes, Julien's mother, gives the mayor the necklace Clementine gave Julia in honor of her birthday. Soon, all the guests abruptly leave the estate, announcing the start of the war. All the adult men go to the front, leaving only Matilda, Julien, and a professor who is an immigrant from Germany. Julien, like the others, is forced to do all the dirty work, since there are no men left. Justine, a servant, comes to the hayloft and finds Julien sleeping, asleep from fatigue. Approaching him and taking his hand, she places it on her stomach, then on her chest, offering him to unbutton her dress. Having stripped naked, Justine asks Julien to do something and not just stand there. Coming to her, the boy begins to kiss her, and they fall together on the hay. Justine is slightly shocked at how fast Julian was. After some time, while playing Monopoly, Julia hears some sounds behind the wall. Entering the next room, she finds Julian and Madeline naked. Disappointed, she slaps the boy. The holidays are over and Pun, Julia's sister, leaves, saying goodbye to her family. Julian sees her off. At this time, Julia tries to leave the estate with Clementine, but she dissuades her. Julian appears in the room. He wants to know what's wrong with Julia, noticing the tears in her eyes, but the girl sends him away. Julian wonders how he could love this selfish woman, for which he gets a slap in the face, but in response gives two at once. After that grappling, they fall to the floor. When Clementine comes out, Julian begins to touch his cousin. This is where the film ends. Thank you for watching and see you on the channel.